I'm back with some viewer submitted styles for Midjourney today. Simply add these to your prompt, separated by a comma, and of course if you have any styles you want to share, pop them in the comments below. So I'm going to show you the comment, we're going to go into that style, check it out, and you can try it out for yourself. Also, a massive thank you to everyone who submitted styles to me for this video. The first is by Riverfox 2012, and she recommends wet plate photography, and it's pretty impressive. As you can see, it sort of has like a really old-fashioned corroded photo look to it, but wait till you get into it a bit. Now this is the first style video I've done using version 6, so the photography looks pretty incredible, and the overall effect is just amazing. If you look at the corroded and the scratched surface, I really like this style. And the futuristic car, it's really like retro style of futurism. Again, nice corroded sort of border around the image. I just think this looks really, really cool. And the Terminator, like an old-fashioned Terminator image, pre-1984, if you can say that. I think it's done a great job with that. Also, the samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji looks like a legitimate photo of an old samurai from the late 1800s. Standing in front of Mount Fuji, and pretty impressive overall. Next we have dye transfer printing style. So this is a really cool effect. You can see from this here what the kind of color you can expect from this style. If you add it to the woman's face, and you can see what impact it's actually had. It really has taken that image and made something really artistic out of it. Moving on to the Terminator, we've got a blend of the sunglasses, the skull, and Arnie all together with that cool color applied to it as well. So again, just a really awesome look. And the Incredible Hulk, very, very artistic looking piece, almost like painted artwork. And a Sonic the Hedgehog. Again, this one just looks more like a painting, but still has bits and pieces of that sort of similar style applied to it. And the Samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji looks a lot different actually, but overall they all look like pieces of painted artwork, so I do really like the impact it's had on these images. Now, I've done DMT style before and Zentangle art, but Poet Zombie has recommended DMT Zentangle art, which actually turns out pretty cool. You can see the impact it's had on this image. If you look at it for a minute, you can see there's a face in there. Add it to the woman's face, and the way it has composed up and patternized all those blank sort of like empty areas of skin creates something really impressive. Moving on to Sonic the Hedgehog, and again has added some patterns into the color and into those areas, and especially around the outside, creating something unique. Move on to the Terminator, and this looks incredible. I think it's just like a really neat piece of artwork, but also really true to the Terminator form in regards to the skeleton. The Incredible Hulk, I love what it's done with certain areas. It looks like he's a bit tatted up, and then the background, of course, has that same style that we were just looking at. And of course, futuristic car, the way it's presented the car is actually really, really different and unique, and I really like the impact that it's had. Now, Arnie here has submitted 5 different prompts, and they all have a pretty good impact, so we're going to go through them, check them out one by one. First is Mandelbrot set, and you can see the kind of impact it has, and a lot of the ones he submitted have these cool sort of abstract looks to them. Woman's face, I really like the impact and the way it's sort of decorated around the outside and controlled the colors, and you can see it again in the Hulk. He's part sort of like, it looks almost like the fruit sculpture I did a little while ago, where he's like a plant growing, but obviously with that same kind of texture. And the Samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji doesn't look that different until you look at the clouds. That swirly impact it's had in the clouds, where it's tried to kind of incorporate that pattern into that. Almost looks like a portal opening, very cinematic looking image, I think. And the futuristic car has put it into the actual build and design of the car, which I think is a really cool impact. And the modern family home, you can see it in various areas of the walls, and this looks like a home from the future that's very artistic and creative. Also, illuminated manuscript. You can see here just the kind of look it has applied to the woman's face. Looks like some really, really old artwork, very sort of almost Renaissance style, I guess you could say. Move on to the Incredible Hulk, and it's like a cool old-fashioned style sort of drawing you'd find in a really old book. This must be what Marvel was like before the 1900s. And Sonic the Hedgehog, again, a nice border, a nice look to that image overall, very artistic and presented very well. And Samurai in front of Mount Fuji, again, just has that really old-fashioned look to it. Looks authentic, looks almost authentic the way it's been presented. And beautiful waterfall nature is a little bit different than the others, but still has that illustrative sort of tone to it. I love the way it's kind of flattened out some of the details, and it has more of a two-dimensional look to it than a three-dimensional look, which is actually just a nice creative touch. Now, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, but Lichtenberg figure, this has a really interesting impact. I added it to the Terminator, and it's almost like he's just arriving from the future. It's like a glowing statue, and you can see the same impact on the Hulk, where he's kind of like a tree growing around him, where they've incorporated that texture as part of the tree. Moving on to Sonic the Hedgehog, and he basically is the texture. I think that the way that has sort of turned the spikes and skin into that is an interesting touch. And the beautiful waterfall in nature, it's like an actual sort of like block figure type thing sitting on a desk. Something I think would look really cool to have around the house. In acrylic block. Now this is a bit misleading, this image, because it looks like an acrylic block, but the rest of them are like acrylic paintings. So this is sort of more, I think, the intended look. So with the woman's face, it looks like a painting. Same again with Hulk. You've got a painting of the Hulk. I love the way it's been perfectly framed around the outside as well, like a canvas print or canvas painting. And Sonic the Hedgehog, same effect again, acrylic painted onto a block. And the same again with the futuristic car. This time, though, it's not framed, so most of the time it tends to get a bit of a frame, but in this case it didn't. Now, moving on to the Modern Family Home, this time it's a different type of acrylic block where it looks like it's actually a model. And again, looking pretty cool and looking expensive as well, as far as models go. Kirlian photography, a little bit different again. I love the color and look. So check out the woman's face. The way it's lit, all those details look pretty impressive. The Incredible Hulk, that really glowing sort of network of wires and bits and pieces. Another really cool looking image. Sonic the Hedgehog, I kind of like the way his eyes are red here. He looks like he's angry or maybe something else. The glowing appearance at the back, I really just thought this image looked pretty cool. And the futuristic car took a different angle of the car. This could be a version 6 thing. But the reflection, the colors, it's a really crisp and nice looking image. And the Modern Family Home looks like the inside of a home lit to match those colors and is looking pretty cool and kind of looks like a nice house to live in. Now, we've got a whole bunch of prompts here that are very much about the weather and certain elements of the weather. And so instead of going through all of them, what I've done is I've picked the Incredible Hulk, since I love using him so much in these videos, and I've popped him in so you can show you the difference you get when using some of these words. So we've got the Incredible Hulk with raging storms. You see that storm raging, and of course Hulk is raging at the same time. Switch to heavy rain, and he's just walking through the rain. Looks a little bit flooded, but a bit depressing, and I think it's pretty interesting, especially with the bokeh effect in the background. Sandstorms, the way that sand is blowing past and going past him, I think is also really impressive. Just like a completely different look to the previous image. And volcano eruptions. I love the way he's sort of coming out of the lava. Very cinematic. And thunder. A little bit less impressive than raging storms, but there's a big crack of thunder right behind him. It's a nice look and a way to sort of zero in on that. And cyclones, a little bit different. Didn't get a lot of cyclone, but a lot of water activity. So I guess it's kind of there, but not as visual as I thought it would be. But tornadoes, again, pretty cool. Another visual thing, you can see that kind of turn in the water, the way it's sort of spinning around him. And of course, Hulk is raging, as he usually is. And of course, floods. He's in the flood waters looking brown and disgusting. And he's probably just hulking out because he knows that the floods are annoying and difficult to work around. And finally, lightning. He's getting struck by lightning, looking angry. So the way it controls the elements of these images, you can apply them to any scene and I think really change the look and weather of any scene you generate with AI. And that finally, we have some tips here to mix 2 or 3 styles together. Now, this is something I've done a lot in the past and I love it. I've done it quite often with ukiyo-e and 3D to get a nice look. But I thought I would mix one out of some of the prompts we went through today. So DMT Zentangle Wet Plate Photography Volcano Eruption. Very interesting impact you can see with this image. Now Mickey Mouse, if you just wanted to have nightmares tonight, this is the way to do it. Popping Mickey Mouse there. He looks very creepy, very old looking photo, and that volcano in the background is just kind of terrorizing a little bit. Samurai standing in front of Mount Fuji. It's like the old photo of the samurai, but instead of Mount Fuji, it's a volcano or a Mount Fuji shaped volcano. I like the mix. The futuristic car. I like the way it's kind of got that crazy weather in the background. If you look, you can kind of see some volcano type eruptions in the distance, but the image overall just looks cool, in my opinion. The Incredible Hulk standing at a volcano, old corroded image. I think that turned out pretty well. And the Terminator. He's nowhere to be seen, but we've got the volcano, we've got the wet plate photography, and overall an interesting impact. But I recommend playing around with any of the styles you see in these videos. I've had good results in the past. So anything you can think of, just do what I like to call style stacking. Try one style, add another style to it, and then just keep adding to see where you can take it. Otherwise, that's the video for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider giving it a like. And if you have styles you'd like to share, please pop them in the comments below. In the next video, we might pop that in there. Thanks again for the support, and thanks for watching the video. I hope to see you again next time. Have a great day.